videos. You know I mentioned that I don't have a compressor, and I didn't at the time. However, now I have this. I actually got this free a couple of weeks back. The guy said it'd been sitting for quite some time unused and he was just happy to get rid of it. And he was happy to find a guy that actually wanted it and needed it. So I have done some initial work on it. I took the motor off and I cleaned everything because when I got it, it was all covered in grease and dirt. So now it's fairly clean. I haven't taken anything apart except disassembling the motor or taking the motor off from the skid. So now that everything's clean, I have some modifications I want to do to it. It's been sitting like this in his shop as two separate parts with just a rubber hose or a PVC hose going between them. Now I want this as one unit so I can move it around. I can't really have it stationary and I don't really have the place to have two separate parts in my shop. So what I'm going to do is to cut off the lower frame from the tank. This one. I'm going to turn the tank 90 degrees so I'm able to fit this skid on top of it. I'm going to weld the skid on the tank, I'm going to re-weld the lower frame, and I'm going to put some wheels on it. And then I'll have a really nice and compact and quite large compressor unit, in fact. Now, just a small disclaimer to all you out there. I know what I'm doing. I actually spent 7 years welding both pressure components, tanks and pipes, and I also spent around 2 years at my last job actually designing pipe systems. So I know how to do this safe, I know how to do this according to best practices. If you don't know how to do this in a good safe way, don't do it, ask someone else to do it. So, let's get started! So here we have a small draining valve. That's why I moved it outside, to drain all the water from it. So now it's time for rotation check. And just so everyone knows, I do have a motor safety breaker on this set for 6.3 amps. So if anything is short circuited or anything internal in the motor is messed up, it'll break. And that's the correct way. If it rotates to the left, the fans and the compressor pulley will blow air across the actual cylinder and cool it down. So let's put the band on and see if we can build some pressure. It's easier to build pressure if the drain plug is closed.
I realized while I was editing this that it looked a bit dangerous, so I want to point out a couple of things. First, I did perform a leak test off camera. I pressurized the tank to 1.5 bars and checked the welds and connections with soapy water. I also have 3 pop-off valves on the tank, 2 at 11 bar and 1 at 7 bar. That's the one between the first and second stage of the compressor. The tank was rated at 30 bars when it was built and all the fittings are rated for 16 bars, so these are only medium pressures. Now let's speed this up a bit and see how the pumping is going.
So that's the end of part 1 of this compressor rebuild. There are still a couple of things I want to do to it. The main thing is I'm going to manufacture a shroud that covers up these 2 pulleys so you can't get pinched and injure yourself quite badly if you're not lucky. I'm also going to manufacture a handle that's going to sit on this side so you can cart it around a bit more easy. There's also one big problem with it as it sits right now. There is too low airflow through the compressor block. And the reason for that is that this is a 1500 RPM motor, and this block is supposed to be run at between 1200 and 1500 RPM according to the manufacturer. And as you can see, the ratio between these 2 pulleys is around 3 to 1. So I've measured it and I get around 540 RPM on the block. So there are 2 ways I can do something about this. I can either increase the pulley size here to around 350 millimeters, 340, 350 millimeters, which is not really practical, or I can put a secondary pulley on here that's smaller, around 200 millimeters outside here. I haven't really decided which one I'm going to go with, but one of them I need to do to get the full airflow through this compressor block. So, thanks for watching. Till next time.